This is the future.
So I have shown you a little glimpse of what the new Warframe Gyre can do. Also, in the past, I have shown you all the nitty-gritty details about all this Warframe's abilities, and it seems like almost all the details in that video are precise. Now, I would like to tell you how powerful Gyre is with the right combination, but before we do that, I would like to give a brief explanation of her skills again. This will be brief, I promise, since I will just tell you how to use them. Okay, so this is how Gyre works. You throw her coil horizon to group enemies. The best way to utilize it is by throwing and then pressing the ability key again once it landed at your desired spot so it can vacuum the enemies to that spot. After that, you cast Arc Sphere to that area wherein enemies are grouped by coil horizon to deal electric damage up to the point wherein you can gain red crit from the ability. To red crit, you must activate Cathode Grace first, but don't activate it blindlessly. The best way to activate Cathode Grace is after you group enemies. During this time, you will need to kill those enemies with either your abilities or weapons to gather duration stacked for Cathode Grace. Why is Cathode Grace so important? The energy regen is great, but I still use Arcane Energize into my Gyre. It's just personal preference though. The best feature of Cathode Grace is its critical chance increase. This does not only apply to weapons, but also to abilities, and it stacks with Gyre's passive that gives you critical chance bonus per electric proc. The maximum critical chance it can give you is 300%, thus the constant red crit on her abilities. Lastly, Rotor's Swell is also great in terms of dealing damage, especially if you are within range of the enemies. In fact, the electric discharge is insane when paired with Arc Sphere, and the best part of this ability is it can stun enemies with the electric proc. How do you get Gyre, Squad Leader? First, complete the Angels of Zariman quest to unlock the bounty missions of the new faction named Hold Fast. After that, go to Quinn and he will give you some bounties that will reward all the parts of Gyre. Or, if you are too lazy, then you can just purchase the Warframe with Platinum in the market. Did you ever place any helminth ability on Gyre, Squad Leader? Yes, I have, but only silence to max rank Gyre faster. In terms of replacing an ability to make the Warframe great, well, I did not make any use of helminth or subsume abilities since Gyre is pretty perfect with the combo I'm about to show you. I was planning to replace coil horizon with ensnare for better grouping, but then, I remembered a specific combo that changed my mind. We will discuss that later, but for now, let's get into the build. So, this is the build I'm using with my Gyre right now. A huge range on the stats will be very good for Gyre since it allows you to vacuum enemies that are far, and it allows you to gain more radius on your fourth ability, not just to damage enemies, but to crowd control them with the stun lock feature of the electric element. Also, I added some power strength for more electric damage, and somehow increase the critical chance increase of Cathode Grace, and as well as its energy regen. But mind you, the energy regen sometimes isn't enough. That is why I used Arcane Energize. How about using the Zenuric Focus, Squad Leader? Well, I will not use that on this setup since I have something better. Lastly, Streamline is a personal preference, and you can add something like Natural Talent for speedy casting, or any mod that you deem useful. As I have said earlier, there was a combo that made me rethink in subsuming Ensnare on this build, and that is the combo with the Horror's Q-Brow with the Stalk mod, that allows Warframe to become invisible if there are enemies within 24 meters. You see, the only problem I have with Gyre in solo plays is survivability, as sometimes the crowd control from its electric proc is not enough. I do remember that Protea can deal massive damage just using her skills, and without using any weapons. Then I tried it with Gyre and it works great. With the invisibility from the Horror's Q-Brow, I can get close to enemies, allowing me to proc the discharge from Rotor's Well, which deals massive damage against enemies, even at high levels. Then, I can cast my other abilities freely without worrying about survivability. Now, in terms of focus, I highly suggest trying out the Honor of Focus. There are 3 reasons why. 1 is because of Caustic Strike that strips all the armor of enemies. 2 is because of Magnetic Flare that disables all the shields of enemies within that 8-meter radius. And probably, both Caustic Strike and Magnetic Flare will work well with Gyre since we can group enemies with her Coil Horizon ability. And lastly, the poise passive gives me full immunity to stagger, slow, and knockdown for 40 seconds after getting out of my Warframe. The electric damage of Gyre is at a complete level once you strip the defenses of those enemies that are grouped in coil horizon. They just melt in seconds, and I highly advise you to try this combo out. Now, this is not the only build I have for Gyre, as there are other combinations that I will be showing very soon. I just need to share those farming methods first, before the builds. Also, I just don't want to burn out the content, so I'll share videos at my pace. Expect more farming and build video guides for Angels of Zariman, and don't forget to join our Discord server if you want to play with us. With this new update, the link is on the video description. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.